Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa G in California because there's the other Lisa G, and I am a compulsive overeater and addict. I'm reading my current mantra, which I wrote today because I usually just blah, blah, blah it, and this time I really wanted to be clear. To rest my compulsive overeating, I choose 3 meals from the gray sheet. I text them into my sponsor. I weigh, measure, prepare, and eat those meals with nothing in between but abstinent drinks and a clean and sober life. Today I have 92 days back and I'm super nervous. And usually when I say that, then I feel a lot better. um, I was going to try to hide out because that's how I like to do. And I didn't want to be seen. And um, that's pretty much just been my whole life. And when the 90 days comes around, I always get super squirrely. So I've just been like really upping my program because I just know that that's a pitfall for me in the past. It's a bad it's habits, but um, I kind of wanted, I didn't, oh my God, I hope I don't start crying. I'm like in a very tearful mood. I just want to like clear the deck and say that I'm struggling in another program. So anyway, so some emotional things might come up with that because I'm just still really raw in that. So, but I wanted to share, I think I saw that literally like the only photo I could find of myself when I was climbing up the scale. And I don't know why. I was actually really happy here. But when I see myself, I don't see myself there and right now. I'm in the front here and I'm going to stop sharing because I get really embarrassed by that picture. I see a lot of different things. I see that I was trying to be a different person, trying to dye my hair. I see that I probably am almost at or where I was at when I was fully like 9.5 months pregnant with my first kid. I was huge. And I see puffiness, I see inflammation. I see that I was on my way. I'm a massage therapist by trade. I know for a fact in that picture, I was probably in a lot of pain because the work itself is one thing, but it's another thing if you're piling on what we don't eat. And it just, I have an inflammatory response to things really quickly, so that's obvious. And yeah, so I'll skip all over here, but I just want to say that I have used food to try to comfort myself, and I've also used food like a drug to numb out. And I've eaten out of nervousness, I've eaten out of joy, I've pain. Um, but some of the things that food became more important after I put something else down. So that's why I also qualify as an addict. I was born and raised in Hawaii. I'll just kind of go way back. And I was raised by a mom who probably has this, who does have this disease now, but I didn't know it then. But I was also raised in a culture where being of a certain size wasn't that big of a deal. I wasn't raised with diet culture or talking about size or anything. In fact, it's quite the opposite in Hawaii. If you're large, that's kind of almost the norm, especially if you come from a Hawaiian family. And unfortunately, that's kind of turned on a lot of them. Almost all of my relatives have some sort of diabetes or heart failures and all kinds of things. It's just like, and it's obviously the food. Um, and also hard lifestyles and stuff. They're very like hardworking people, so that takes its toll on their bodies as well. Um, so so I didn't have that in the background for me to like, think about my weight or diet or whatever. I just was who I was. And I don't think I really had a food problem until I did. And I've had, oh gosh, I'm thinking all over the place right now. I was thinking back to like my first marriage, how I gained like 40 pounds in a short period of time. And I used to buy a pound of things we don't eat for every paycheck. And that thing would be gone after a week and or after a weekend at Friday and then be back Monday. And I was lucky enough to start working for a chiropractor who I got on a health trajectory, and I did really well, and that's where I became a massage therapist. So I'm very attuned to like what the body holds and how it keeps the score. Um, but as I got older and my other addictions were just going crazy, I had to put them down. And when I put them down, I picked up the food. And this was in my 40s. And that's that picture is me about mid-40s. And, uh, I just, I can't even think about what I did to myself because it was so embarrassing. I just started eating, and I ate so much that I now have an allergy to things squirrels like because I overate them one day and went into anaphylactic shock, and I had to go to the hospital and almost died from that. I've overeaten at buffets, or I don't even go to potlucks anymore. Just like that's just it's just gross to think of. Anyway, but I don't participate, but I put myself in the hospital after one night. I just remember distinctly watching one platter after another come in of food, and I had to have a little bit of everything because I'm an addict and I had to try everything. I was so sick, and I would that made me bedridden for 2 days after because the feeling of the heart attack felt like I had cracked my lungs and my ribs. That's how hard I ate that time, and I had to go to the hospital and thought I was having a heart attack and couldn't breathe and stuff, and I'm thinking about that now, and it makes me just, like, scares me to think that I got that bad. I got sick in Hawaii once on a part of the island that didn't have any kind of emergency, um, capabilities, and I had to go to some, just like a doctor, they didn't know what to do, and I got stuck doing that, and, unless I kind of by that point knew what had happened. So, like, this disease doesn't it knows no bounds. It will just take me, and, this is not my first 90 days. Some of you have known me, I've been around for a while. I've had several 90 days, but in the times that I have gone off, I can eat what I lost, or whatever. It's incessant and it's insidious. Um, so that's why I've this time back, I'm treating it a lot differently. I'm treating it like I'm in rehab. I go to a meeting a day at least, sometimes two. I call three people or more a day. Um, and I have made a lot of good friends that I can easily call because it's not easy calling people that I know that will tell me, look, I can just talk for a minute and but I gotta go, but they'll take it my call. And I've also talked with people for hours that will walk me through really terrible things or just, or we walk each other through things, So that's kind of been part of my action plan to stay in the middle of the herd so I can stay here with you. Um, yeah. Um, Yeah, so anyway, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of like I'm into action now. But, I also, like, just, I'm intermingling some of the other things, but, because my addiction I'm an addict anyway, and I love to live in a privately defined world, and that's something I've been really struggling with because, um, it's it's lovely, when you can just tell what you're gonna do, what you're gonna eat, who you're gonna see. Um, and I'm fortunate that I can kind of construct my own world. Um, I don't have a 9 to 5 job. I kind of can set my own schedule and with my work and stuff, and that's been great. And it's been also a place where I hide out and can and escape too, with all my addictions. And so I have to be really careful, and I have to tell on myself all the time. I'm slowly sharing with my friends in here what I'm going through on the side, and that has made this both easy and complicated. I don't suggest attacking two addictions at once at all, ever. Like, I don't even know how to tell people what to do about that. But I do suggest that as far as food is concerned, for me, when I started feeling like food was threatening to take my life because I saw what that felt like in another addiction, I knew that I had to find something. And I'm grateful. I wish I had been here sooner, but I'm grateful that I got here through OA. Um, I did have a little reading I pulled up, but I don't know if that's OA literature is allowed to be read. Um, I don't know, is that yay, no? Anyway, oh, I see a thumbs up from somebody who was here. So I'm gonna just read, it's the for today for OA, and it really relates to what I'm going to get to, my weird bumpy story. Um, is that I've come to this place of like about health. Without health, it's June 16th of the Overeaters Anonymous for today. Without health and courage, we cannot face the present or the germ of the future in the present. And we take refuge in evasion, which is like the privately supine world for me, Cyril Connolly. Am I in the habit of saying, I wish things were better and putting off action to a day that never arrives? Things cannot get better without some action on my part. I acknowledge the problem, ask myself what I can do about it, and then proceed accordingly. If I've done all I can and am unable to go further, I turn the matter over to my higher power and relax. I need to be aware, however, that fear may be at the root of my inability to do something. Doing involves risk and change and a chance of failure, but it also presents a chance for growth, which in the long run may make failure more beneficial than success. For today, I do not need to fear failure. I need rather the peace of mind that comes with taking the action I have been putting off. So I really I always read something I need to. So to circle around. Once I came into Gray Sheet, which was by accident because it was through OA, and I found like this old pamphlet that had the Gray Sheet information in my area in person. So I ended up going there, and they're like, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh, wow, just get me another OA sponsor in this Gray Sheet room, whatever." And they're like, "No, no, it's nothing like, no, we're not part of them." And I was given the Gray Sheet by my first sponsor, and for 3 weeks I had 21 days of abstinence. I ended up letting it go shortly before the pandemic. And I think getting that picture, it was after that, I was really desperate. Um, and then during the pandemic, I got really sick with COVID, and I ended up coming in because I was like so sick from both having COVID and I couldn't even move or do anything. I had to close my massage business anyway because of the pandemic, but then I got sick. I got the food had attacked me, the COVID attacked me, just, everything just, and then all like everything piled on. And then I started, and I remember those 21 days that I had around that time that picture was taken. And I went back to that. So the seed was planted about my future in that past moment. And then I grabbed onto that again, and so I'm skipping forward a little bit more. And so I've been in and around the rooms for about 3 years now. Um, I don't plan to have another break. I'm really happy. I'm surrounding myself with people who love me and I love them. I'm working this program. Because of this program, I've held off about 50 pounds of weight. Um, I've also been able to pick up lifting weights again. I um I just recently signed the lease for my new office. I'm going to reopen my massage business because I didn't think I would ever be able to do that. And that was something I felt like my whole life I was called to do. And I thought I would never do it again regularly, other than just playing around and not playing around, but just like seeing friends. Um, and that was a long haul, like to get strong enough to feel like I could do it as a viable business again. I ran for an office in my local political or my state political club. I lost, but I still did it. I kept going, and I didn't, lose sight of what I wanted. I did it mostly absent. I think I had a break in there. Unfortunately, that was one of the things I'm told not to do anymore, is to run for office, because every time I'm involved with politics, I go off. So, not to laugh, it's not funny, but I'm like, I have to know where my limits are and kind of go, like certain things just don't work for me anymore. Thank you. Thank you, Carla. And so yeah, that's what I've also learned, is that because I do gray sheet, I don't just weigh and measure food. I also weigh and measure what I put into my life too. I'm sorry this this talk was all over the place. Call me back in like another 90 days and maybe I'll have a clearer idea, but I just felt really privileged to be able to be here, and I've been wanting to give back in service, and it's one of the things that kept me coming around, and I know that's what kept me alive before, and I know that's what's going to keep me going ahead. So thank you.